All right, so we are on page 460, example 5, as well as guided practice setup. In case you need more help, in example 5, it's a word problem where Valerie needs 2/3 of yard of fabric to make each hat for the school play. You're going to write and solve an equation to find how many hats she can make with 6 yards of fabric. So if she only has 6 yards of fabric, that is the equal 6. And each hat, N, is 2/3 of that fabric. To figure out how many hats she can make, you're going to flip, just like we've done previously, and multiply. And remember, every whole number has an invisible 1 underneath it. So 6 times 3 is 9, 6 times 3 is 18, 2 times 1 is 2, 18 divided by 2 is 9. You can also use bar diagrams to help this. We've seen this in our real world link. We know she has N amount of fabric. We know that 2/3 of that fabric is used to make hats. And we know that 2/3 of it is 6 yards. Right here. How many hats can she make in that yards? Because in this one, it's N equals 6 divided by 2/3. 6 divided by 2 thirds, because there's 3 of them, equals N. So she can make 9 hats. Now, guided practice setup. In the guided practice setup, remember to use your examples 1, 3, and 4 to solve. So, if you are multiplying a problem, you will divide to get the variable by itself. So 1.6 divided by 1.6. So K equals 3.2 divided by 1.6. I could just leave you here, but I will show you how to set up the division problem. Remember, in division, you need to destroy the decimal. So if it is 3.2 divided by 1.6, you're going to get rid of the decimal. So we get rid of it by moving it over to make it 16. Whatever you do to the left, you must do to the right. Get rid of your decimal. Move it over. 16 and 32. So now 32 divided by 16. If you don't know this, you can use a calculator or skip count by 16. Or guess and check multiplication. So 16 times 1 is 16. 16 times, let's go right to 2. 16 times 2. 6 times 2 is 12. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. Right off the bat, we have 2 is 32. So 16 times 2 is 32. We subtract 32 divided by 32 minus 32 is 0. So K equals, that's your answer. I'm not going to write it in there. Let's try again for setup. Divided by negative 2.5, because the variable's right here, you want that one by itself. Divide by negative 2.5. Again, I will help you with the setup. I will not do any of the division for you this time. So, 20.5 divided by negative 2.5. We know this negative is one negative will lead to a negative answer. So now you can ignore that negative up top. So 2.5 is dividing 20.5. We're going to move this decimal over, get rid of it, move him over 1. Since this one's only moved 1, you only move this one 1. Now it's 205 divided by 25. Remember, you can guess and check your multiplication for this. But remember, 25, similar to 25 cents, similar to a quarter, and 4 quarters equal $1, so 25 times 4 would equal 100. And that's my hint to you, is 25 times 4 equals 100. So maybe if you have $2, how many quarters do you have? That's my hint to you. That is just a hint. I will leave you to solve the rest of problem 2. Now, setting up for number 3. Negative 1/2 equals negative 5 divided by 18h. Now, we're still dividing, but with a fraction, you actually have to multiply the opposite. So, we'll do negative 18 over 5 times negative 1/2, because that stays the same. This is the only one that gets flipped, equals negative 18 over 5 times negative 5 over 18h. It's on the top and the bottom, so it gets crossed out. It's on the top and the bottom, so it gets crossed out. 2 negatives equal a positive, h. Negative 18 times negative 1. Negative 5 times negative 2. We can multiply those right now. Or we can divide currently so that these are smaller. We can simplify earlier. 5 and 1 are already simplified by 1. 18 and 2, they can both be simplified by dividing 2. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So negative 9 times negative 1 is positive 9. Negative 5 times negative 1 is positive 5. That can be your answer, or you can do the division, which is what I want you to do. That's why I still have that there. 9 divided by 5. And remember, I want a remainder. So whatever this answer is down here is going to be the remainder. And it'll be this answer here with the remainder over 5. So I want this answer and this answer filled in from over here, please. Let's do number 4. Write and solve an equation. In this one, you will use examples 2 and 5 for your answer. So there's going to be 2 separate answers, an equation and a solution. You're going to need to listen to me so that you can figure out what your equation is. But I will not help you fully set up an equation. So, the average growth of human hair is 0.5 inches per month. 0.5 per month. And that per means there's going to be a variable with that. So it'll be 0.5 m. Find how long it takes a human to grow 3 inches of hair. They want a total of 3 inches. So you want 3 equals, hint, hint, and then solve. And if that is what you have, that's a multiplication, you will need to divide by 0.5 once you put it down here on both sides. Number 5 setup. 3/4 of the fruit in a refrigerator are apples. So 3/4 are apples. There are 24 apples total in the refrigerator. How many pieces of fruit are in the refrigerator? So, if there are more fruit in the fridge and 3/4 of them are apples, you need to figure out what the total is. So, 3/4 of the total are apples. So 3/4n is the total. And you know 24 apples is part of that answer. So you want 24 equals the total 3/4 n. And since it's a fraction, remember you need to flip and multiply down here. Remember to flip 3/4 and multiply to both sides.